So you've had this awful 6 months. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. It's green and vegan.
It is, yeah, very good.
And
You've been thinking about that for long?
No, yeah, it just popped into my head.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, thank you. Forest Green.
Yeah. I think it was a release, and I mentioned a bit earlier that it was just getting back to enjoying football, enjoying training. Pat Mountain was the goalie coach at the time, and
Amazing him, by the way.
he was just amazing for me because he sat me down, spoke to me, and I think I was still edgy about trusting people at the time, but he kind of just spoke to me as a human rather than an object at the time, which was what I really appreciated. So, yeah, it was an experience because you're in the hotel and all the food's vegan, and you're trying to like, do I really want this? Is it going to help me? And you kind of end up just having soup because you're not sure whether to try it. The stuff on site was not bad, like the protein shakes and the energy bars that they gave you, and the meals prepped by the club at the stadium were very good because they were done by a vegan chef. It was a professional chef at the club. The away trips were the biggest problem because it was done by the hotel, and it's kind of at a stage where vegan wasn't as big as it is now, and not many people knew about it.
Hotels probably didn't know what to cook.
Exactly. So
completely thrown you on. You want a vegan menu?
4 choices.
Yeah. So that was kind of one of the biggest struggles. But other than that was just getting back to it, and I think I had to wait 3 weeks before I made my league debut. So again, it was under not the nicest of circumstances, but as a goalie, you're either hoping for a red card, a loss in form, or an injury.
Yeah.
But the way it happened was not nice. I mean, the goalie lost teeth and scarred and got kicked in the face. It was wasn't great. And the first thing I had to do was a 1v1. Came on cold, minus whatever in February, and next thing I had to do, I've just seen him get studded in the face, and I got to come out for a 1v1. I was like, okay.
Same striker or different?
I think it was same striker.
Same striker,
yeah. But even like Pat said after the game there, it's like you could have seen that and very easily crumbled, but it's just nothing phased you. So yeah, it was nice to get that. Had a little run in the team. It was tough because my first start was Tuesday night at Swindon, and the first goal they scored was an absolute worldie, and I thought, that's just not what I needed. I wanted a nice
big local rivalry there.
Big
as well,
local,
so
it's a big derby.
Big derby, yeah.
Stuck up. I was down at the town end, 1-0 down after whatever, but it's just come off the top. I think it was top right inside the post. You got the Swindon fans singing "It's all your fault." I'm thinking that's a hell of a strike. Fair enough. Like if it's gone through me, but yeah, it was a good experience to play in that, and had a little run and had a clean sheet and points. But I think we only picked up a couple of wins in that run, so we ended up playing Lincoln, who were top of the league at the time, with the Cowleys, and they came to Forest Green, who wanted to play football out from the back, and Lincoln were known for throwing it in the box, and they started Matt Reed and John Akinde up front, and I'm thinking, I mean, that would have been a tough game. So I'm sat here thinking, but for me it would have suited me because I like coming for crosses. It would have been a big test playing against them two because off the pitch they're nice as anything, but on it you're getting smashed. I didn't play, and we lost 2-1, and I got put back in for the next game. I was thinking, wasn't expecting that. Would have liked to have played straight through, but 1 in, 1 out. Okay. Played the next. I think we must have played 6 games, and I think in the 6 games we either got something like 14 or 15 points from those 6 games. We had 1 loss and had a couple of clean sheets in there. And the last game we beat Macclesfield 2-0, clean sheet. I was thinking, I've got to be secure for the rest of the season now. There's 4 games left. We win all 4, we get third. I think
It's good.
What a challenge. Let's go. Got dropped. Not a word. Not from Pat. Was like, look, it's not my decision, but managers drop you. Like, just keep your head. See what happens. Best case scenario, you get a promotion in the middle. Right. Let's just stick with it. You played a decent number of games for the season you've had. I said, no, fine. Like, I appreciate you speaking to me, calming me down. And won the first 2 games. Massive high. Everyone's thinking, let's go. Like 2 more wins, 3rd place. We go to Crewe away with 3-1 up with 20 minutes to go. We lose 4-3. The atmosphere from the week before, beating Tranmere away at Prenton Park, to being sat at Crewe 4-3, it was like we were in a relegation battle. It was. Now I was kind of one of the youngest boys, and obviously on loan. It was kind of like boys, like let's.
We're still in it.
We're
This
still
is
in,
yeah.
Okay, missed out on 3rd, fine. But let's prep for playoffs now. Like, lift it. Everyone's like, yeah, let's go. So we had extra on the last day of the season, and we drew 0-0. I thought, okay, clean sheet. Not going to change it after the run we've had. Said 1 loss in 4, 2 clean sheets. Not going to change it. We had Tranmere on the Friday. Pat pulled me on the Wednesday and went, "You're starting Friday." I was like, "What? You can't just whisper that to me on a Wednesday. I haven't played for a month." "Yeah, you're starting Friday against Tranmere in the playoffs." I'm thinking, okay, let me just get the emotion out of my head. Let's just focus. But I was trying to wrap my head around it, that why not play me for the 4 games?
Yeah.
Why take me out? But he said he wanted to see who was going to play in the playoffs. But I said, well, if I played, we don't know what, these are all hypothetical. If I played, we might have got 3rd. But he wanted to see who we wanted to play in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But how does that work for me? Because I haven't played in a month. So, and this is where I said that the Northampton situation came in, because I was playing every 6 weeks in the Carabao, the Papa John's, not playing for a month. Those experiences helped me going into Tranmere. And I actually thought, out of the 2 legs, I played very well. We lost the first leg 1-0. We had a man sent off after 15 minutes, which changed the game plan completely. We've gone from playing out from the back to hitting Christian Doige and playing for second balls. And then we went to the home leg. We went 1-0 up, I think, on the 25th minute. And then everyone kind of thought, what do we do now? Do we sit? Do we press? And then we went 1-1 at, I think, about 35. And it was kind of just changed the game again. And then we were chasing again. Had another man sent off at 60. So we played we played 90 minutes over the 2 legs with 10 men effectively. And the numerical difference just cost us ultimately. But I thought, for me, playing 2 playoff games after not playing for a month, those games I thought I played very well in. And this is the conversation again we had off mic. I thought, Reading have got no goalies. I'm the most senior goalie at the club now.
Got some games on about.
Got some games. Got some League 2 games under my belt. Even if you bring a more established number 1 in, I think I can do a job as a number 2, as a backup at 20, 21. I thought that's not a bad sort of role at a Championship club, to get that experience and get that kind of matchday buzz of a bigger crowd, bigger occasion. And no one came to watch. No one from the club came to watch, which kind of sent a big message to me. And after that, I went in the summer and said, "Where do you see me?" And they said, "Well, we're waiting to see with the new Portuguese staff." And after that, it was an option came up to leave, and they said, "Yeah, you can go." No compensation or nothing, maybe a sell-on, I think it was, but other than that, it was down to Exeter. And
so how was that? I mean, that's what, 13 years effectively
it was
in
very
the
tough.
Reading setup, your home clubs, as you said, season ticket holder, the whole thing, that's your club. You're still thinking, I've gone out on loan, I've done what I needed to do. Yeah, I've had a few issues, but I've come back. And again, you're facing a challenging time again. I guess that must be really tough.
Yeah, it was tough. It was horrible to hear after that time, because as you said off mic, that short-term fix, and I know you've spoken about that before. I think that's what the issue was. The club had just scraped relegation. They were looking to strengthen. They were looking to build on. They're not thinking about academy products. They're not thinking about the next 5, the next 10 years. They're thinking, we need to survive till Christmas. And ultimately, they got sacked in November. So...
Am I missing something as a non-footballer? I've spent 13 years investing in this talent who clearly is a talent, is at a level and can come in and do a job, and I'm in one fell swoop I'm getting rid of the talent. I mean, I guess it, of course I get there are points where you cull and you cut and whatever, but that's a big...
But they wouldn't have seen the story, would they? If you're talking about the Portuguese guys coming in, they wouldn't have seen the story, the history behind it. They wouldn't have seen the build up to it. It's to a lot of these staff, it's irrelevant because it's about today and tomorrow.
But does the senior management team change, or do they not have an influence? Is it basically, I'll come in, bring new coach, you can sort it out?
Yeah, listen, all clubs run differently, right? They all run differently. Some the managers have lots of power. Some they don't have any power at all. But I always think that the hierarchy, if you like, at the club should always be looking at the next bit, because you could say, well, if the club did go down for any reason, you've got a goalie that's played the league below who's ready to go to the next level, of which financially, and taking the right way financially, it's going to be a cheap option.
Absolutely.
Like it is bringing an academy goalie through to the first team.
Yeah.
They're going to be paying 10% of what they would if they're going to go and buy someone in.
Yeah.
So, which to be fair, Fulham do now, right? Leno's gone from Arsenal, isn't he, to Fulham. They'd have paid a fortune for him.
Yeah.
A fortune.
Yeah.
Where the goalie that's just been coming out, Marek Rodak, has come through the system.
Yeah.
So he was my age group. We played against each other. Youth Cup semi-final.
Marek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's a prime example of what I thought I could have been here, but for whatever reason it didn't happen, and it was tough leaving after all that time. And I was walking in downstairs, and you look at the academy honours board, and I'm not seeing my name up there. It's tough because I wanted an appearance because I've come through. It's my academy club, my scholarship, and I wanted to play here, but it is what it is, and that's football. So you got to move on and try and adapt to your new club.
And what was the moving on then?
Exeter City, which was really, apart from the injuries, I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
So came in.
So we're now what, 20, 21?
21, 22.
Okay.
Came in, spoke to the manager. It's like, if you impress me in pre-season, you'll play. I'm bringing another goalie in. It's nothing to do with you. I'd need 2 goalies. But you impress me, you play. So I was like, challenge accepted. It's not a problem. Those are the stipulations. Here we go. So played well in pre-season. Got the shirt. Started the season. 11, 12 games in. Record was, I thought, very good. We were 8 wins, 3 draws, 1 loss. A few clean sheets in that again. I think I had 3 or 4. Go to Crewe away, which seems to be the place at the moment. Came for a corner in about the 70th minute, punched it. Centre half came through, headbutted my forearm. I've gone down, physio's come on, thought it's a bit sore, just feels like a bruise, little knock. Don't worry, I'll play on, it's not a problem. 3 subs had been made, 75th minute made a save, little scoop, gone to roll the ball out, and the ball's had no pace as it's left my arm. I thought, I'm in trouble here. Like, I'm looking at the bench thinking, I've broken my arm. Like, it's cracked. Like, you know. But we've made 3 subs, and it was 1-1 at the time. I think if I come off, it was. I'm going through my head. If I come off, we're down to 10 men. We've got an outfield player in goal. Am I better with 1 arm than an outfield player? It was running through my. I couldn't work out what the best thing to do was. So I think I played about 15 minutes with a broken arm. Corner came in. I've gone to lift my right arm to punch it again. I couldn't get it above my shoulder, and I've had to come over with my left. Luckily, decent connection, decent clearance on the punch. And I'm just looking at the scoreboard thinking, can you tick down any quicker? And then, luckily, game finishes, get a point. Going around shaking everyone's hand, left-handed. Yeah, I'm alright. Just take that one. Get that down the tunnel, and yeah, it's not pretty. It's starting to swell. It's starting to bruise. It's so manager's like, right, let's be discreet about it. Let's try and get him to a hospital. Try and get it sorted as quickly as possible. Get an X-ray. Blah blah blah. Being discreet, I left the stadium in full kit. Match shirt, sling, shorts, flip flops. It was like, yeah, this isn't really discreet. So we drove to the nearest hospital in Crewe. They were like, yeah, there'd be a 4-hour wait to see a doctor. We were like, okay, we can get back to Exeter in 2.5 if we push the speed limit, 3 at most, and we can get into the club doctor straight away. So we got back down there. I was in and out of Exeter Hospital in 45 minutes, X-ray, cast, and I had a full, complete nightstick fracture in my forearm. And I'm thinking, just what I need. Playing really well, had a great start to the season, good number of results. Broke my arm. What chances of that? So had the surgery on it, which was in itself was a funny experience. I'm sat there and they're telling me to count down from 10. I've got to 0. I'm still looking around.
Aren't I meant to be out by now?
Oh, am I still meant to be awake? And then obviously dozed off, and surgeon's coming afterwards, and he's going, "Oh, thank God you're awake." I'm thinking, "Sorry, what?" He's going, "Yeah, we had to give you 4 times the normal dose of anaesthetic because you wouldn't go to sleep."
Wow.
I was like, "Yeah, I'm glad I'm awake too now." But so yeah, that was an experience, first operation and stuff. So, and that was a.
And what was that? Resetting the bone?
No, I've got a plate in there.
Oh wow.
Plate, 7 screws. Can feel it. It's sore in the winter months. Getting older now. But yeah, it's one of those where I do have to just be careful of it. I do get a lot of tightness in my forearm and little sore wrists every now and again because of the build-up of just hitting the floor. And in the winter it does hurt a lot more when I do hit the floor because the ground is a little bit... Well, summer as well, to be fair. When it's a lot harder, hit it in the wrong place, it does sort of jangle a bit. But
it's going to hurt the striker more now though if he heads your leading
arm,
arm, isn't it?
If he headbutts my right arm again.
It's going to hurt him more than
I should have got the left arm done at the same time.
Absolutely, yeah.
Just do both.
Sort of robo-keeper. We're back on the robo-keeper topic, yeah.
But it was a 3-month recovery, 6 weeks in the sling. I was very lucky. The surgeon was very good. He said, best case scenario, we don't put you in a cast, because if you come out the cast, you've got to learn to move your elbow again. At least with it not in the cast, you can get the full range of your movement. You can't obviously weight it or anything, but you can at least move your elbow so it's not stiff, it's not relearning, you're not strengthening. And but if I was an outfield player, I would have been back playing in 6 weeks. Goalkeeper, you've got to learn to hit the floor again, you've got to learn to shock absorb catching, you've got to learn to push up off the floor, your body weight's got to be right. And at one point I was... My right arm was so much skinnier than my left, and that was the main issue. I had to build up the muscles in all my arm again before they were comfortable getting me back playing, and got through all the rehab, and it came back to the game that I was meant to start back in. On the Friday, I took a knock on it. Not the first knock I've had on it, but the first one that caused me any issues. Was the day before the game that I'm meant to play again, and I'm thinking, what kind of luck is this? So I managed to hit one of the screw heads, and it just sent the nerves haywire in my arm. So every time I caught it, I was feeling like ripples and repercussions down my arm, and it wasn't nice. And it needed about a week to settle down. So it took another week to come back in and play, and so that happened in January, the start of January. Was meant to play Ipswich in the Papa John's. Had to pull out in the warm-up just because it wasn't right. I would have cost the team because I would have been forcing it, and it's, you know in yourself that you're going to be more of a hindrance than a help. So had to wait for my return, and unfortunately that came at another cost to an injury. Goalkeeper pulled out in the warm-up at Swindon, which seems to be where I'm making...
A few of these bogey grounds, aren't there, for you?
Saying I'm making my debuts again. Made my return at Swindon, and people still talk about that game to this day because the wind was frightening. Like, I was kicking for touch, which was not normal. I was angling goal kicks at the dugout, trying to reach the dugout. And there was one time I actually kicked a goal kick and it's blown out for a corner behind me. Like, it was frightening. We unfortunately lost the game, but I got a good run in the team. Started getting back to a bit more form, a bit more back to where I was before I broke my arm, and we played Portsmouth in the Papa John's semis, which was again one of those games where you're 1-0 up and you end up losing you 1-0 up and 10 minutes to go, you lose 3-2 in the 92nd minute. It's just one of those you're like,
how did that happen?
How did that happen? Yeah. And then COVID hit. Got back in the team, good run. COVID hit, and we're back to square one, and we were waiting to hear if playoffs happened. And everyone's got their COVID stories and COVID, but going back for playoffs was a weird feeling. And yeah, it was very strange because we off for 12 weeks, come back for playoffs. We were waiting to hear what would happen with the league, and they deducted it with the points and worked out where everyone had finished somehow, and that's how the season finished. And we went into the playoffs against Colchester. The other keeper came back first day, tested positive for COVID. So I thought, well, I've got a good 10 days advantage now before we go back in. So used that, thought, right, I'm ready. He came back a couple of days before the first leg. I played the first leg, and it was strange. There's no fans there. It's the middle of June. It feels like a pre-season friendly. Like, the tempo of the game was slow.
Yeah.
It was very, very pre-season. They had a free kick in the last 10, and he bent it into the top corner. And I think if I'd hadn't had 12, 15 weeks off and seen footballs, I might have saved it. And it's one of those where, if buts and maybes, it's gone in. I can only look at it and reflect on it, but you go back again and you think, if you're match fit, you save it. And
how were you keeping fit during those 12 weeks? What did you do?
I
At home in the garden trying to do stuff?
Yeah, so I did Insanity, the workout DVD. Had my phone on FaceTime, flipped it round, had the phone facing the TV. Girlfriend could watch at the same time, and we were both doing the workouts at the same time. I was at home with my parents, she was at home with hers. But it was kind of the way that we kind of communicated and got through it. Because I know a lot of people would have struggled not seeing partners in that time and stuff that didn't live together. But we would do the workout in the morning, speak for a couple of hours, then go outside and then do the same thing every day. And we had that program of the month Insanity of that's what we were doing, and we did it every day, and we got quite fit off it, to be fair.
But no ball handling, nothing like that, I suppose.
I bought a rebounder.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, I bought a rebounder because I was in the awkward situation where both my parents were working from home. They were on calls all day, work calls, Zoom and Microsoft Teams and whatever, and my brother was doing his uni work. So everyone was shut away, and I was just sat left to my own devices. Like, I can't kick a ball at myself, so I need to find something to do with my time. So I ended up doing a lot of gardening, a lot of house jobs, everything that my mum wanted my dad to do I was doing, just because they were working, so I had to fill my days.
But not great prep for that top corner
not great prep for a free kick that I wouldn't have seen in 6 months or whatever. Well, not that long, but 3 months. But yeah, so I bought a rebounder. Just as much as you can do on your own, you are very reliant on another person to serve you as a goalie. It's not like you can take a ball out, dribble it, and you need someone to test you with service and put it in the top corner and punch it down low for you to dive at. So the rebounder helped in a way. It kept my hand speed up, it kept my eye coordination up with step and techniques and stuff, but nothing really too advanced that you need for League Two football at the time. So we played the first leg. Came in after the game, obviously disappointed. Managers walked past me to the other goalie and gone, "Why are you not outside doing extras? Like, get outside and do extras." So taking the goalie coach out, done extras. I'm thinking, that's a bit weird. Team got named on the day before the next leg and I wasn't in it. I thought, oh, well, I thought that would happen after the situation after the leg. Manager didn't speak to me. Seems like a trait with me. But yeah, he didn't speak to me about it. And then we won the second leg. And he called me in before the final. And he said, "Look, we won the second leg. I'm going to stay with the same team." I said, "I understand that, but why didn't you speak to me between the two legs? Like, I get that I'm not playing for the final because you won the semi. Like, I can put 2 and 2 together, but what I can't work out is why I wasn't spoken to between that." And he said, "I just didn't think it was right to speak to you at that time." I was like, "That's your opinion." Got absolutely smashed in the final. Weird experience because Wembley was empty. Really horrible. Even warming up was horrible. Sat in the crowd was horrible. Watching the game was horrible. Got smashed by Northampton of all teams. Staff and we're exactly the same. And then we had a meeting on the day after, and it was not day after, sort of a couple of days after. I said, "Look, where do I go from here? Because I want to be your number one. I want to play for you. You've dropped me in the 2 biggest games of the season. What do I need to do to get the shirt back? Because clearly I'm not your number one." He said, "Look, you go away, you get fit, you put on a bit of muscle, you do this, you play well in pre-season, you'll have the shirt. It's yours to grab again." So I said, "Okay, as long as you're going to stick to your word, fine." So I went away, did everything else, played well in pre-season again, got the shirt, started the season. We're 8 games in. I get tackled by my own player, ruptured my ankle. And it was one of those where the season before I started again very well. 1 loss in 8, 2, 3 clean sheets. We were 3rd in the league. I'm not saying it was down to me, but I'm saying I was playing well and playing consistently. Ruptured my ankle. I was lucky. The silver lining for me was it wasn't worse. It wasn't 6 to 9 months. It was 3 months, because I could have done a lot more to it. I showed you the photo. It's not a pretty photo.
No.
So silver lining is it's only a kind of 3 months. So come back start of December. I've asked the manager, "Look, I want to get back in the team. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to play for you again." Comes to just after Christmas, and he's told me that I'm never going to play for him again. I was like, what have I done to do this? He said, "Oh, it's just, you're not going to play for me again." I was like, why? But he just didn't give me a reason why not. So I was trying to find something in the January because there was no point mentally, from a mental health point of view, staying down in Exeter, away from my family, living on my own in a flat, when I'm not going to play. And I had a year left on I was up at the end of the year, and then Portsmouth came up, and I managed to go to Portsmouth. So, excuse me. But yeah, the comment of "you're never going to play for me again" was tough to take, because I didn't think in the games that I played I'd done much wrong.
There must be a reason why these managers are saying these.
The common denominator is me, isn't it? So.
Yeah. So there's got to be
an issue with me.
There's something there that's not connecting with. There's something that they're not getting, or something. It's a weird one, isn't it?
I don't know. So I went to Portsmouth knowing that I was pushing to be a number one, but I was ultimately a number 2 at the time, which for me I don't like. I don't want to be a number 2. I want to play football. But the other goalie at the time had broken his leg, so he was out for a while. So I knew I was going in as a number 2, and if anything happened, I was ready. unfortunately, nothing happened. I didn't get to make an appearance. Didn't get to play. Got close a few times, but again, every time I was going to knock on the door, managed to get sacked. So we played 4 games, lost 4 in the league, and we had the Papa John's final coming up, which I'd lost the semi to 2 years ago to Portsmouth. So they were questioning whether I could play or not, or be involved on the bench. I was thinking, they're going through a lot of queries for me not to play.
Yeah.
So I was thinking I might get an opportunity here to play. In the end, he didn't change it. Lost the final. Manager got sacked. New manager comes in. Kept the same team and everything. And goalie, we were at Shrewsbury, and goalie disappeared 10 minutes into the warm-up. And I'm thinking, I'm in here. Like, heart rate is reaching
Here we go.
beats that's not reached. Like, adrenaline's flying. I'm thinking, I'm going to get a League One debut. I'm going to start. He came out 25 minutes before the warm-up. Disappeared for 20, 30 minutes. I'm thinking, no. You can't just come back out. And he managed to get through the game, and we won in the end as well, so you can't really argue with it. But I was thinking, I was so flat on the bench because the adrenaline rush that I had for not having it for so long just literally wiped me out. I was just drained on the bench. But yeah, came through at Portsmouth, and that came to an end, and it was purely from a mental health point of view that I left Exeter, not for any other reason, because I wanted to fight for my place. But when you get told you're never going to play, what's the point?
Yeah.
So
do you think some managers do that as a motivational play, or literally is it? I mean, is that do you know what? You're right. You're never going to play again, or is it you are never going to play? Get out of my sight.
I have no idea, because he came out in the press after I left when the retain list is, and he said it was my choice to leave, and said he wanted me to fight for the shirt. And it's like, well, if you said that to me, I would have stayed, but you didn't.
Do you see those plays, those sort of negative plays to try and get the best out of a player? That negative, you're rubbish at that.
Yeah, sometimes a tactical move, isn't it? That they maybe they've been offered another player to try and come in, so they try and just upset the player that they've got, so they'll then decide that they want to leave.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have that situation.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. So we're now
out of contract.
We're now out of contract. So how old are we now? 23, 24?
Yeah, 23, 24. Out of contract. Wondering where the summer's going to go. Wondering where I'm going to end up. If I'm going to have to drop back down to non-league. Just because I wanted game time. I wanted to play.
Yeah, cool.
So I had excuse me. I had speaking to Swindon before the summer. So we're midway through the summer after Portsmouth had finished and I'd been let go, and had to wait for the release from Exeter. Speaking to Swindon, and they just signed a goalie. They signed Wallacott from Bristol City on permanent after his loan there last season. I was thinking, right, okay, I can go in there, get signed. But I'd everything agreed, personal terms all agreed, everything agreed. And then they had the court case with the ownership battle, and that lasted. It felt like ages.
And you presumably couldn't. You were sort of
they couldn't offer,
hanging on.
Yeah, they couldn't offer any money, any contracts.
Did you look elsewhere, or were you trying to hedge your bets, or were you thinking, this is going to play out and I'm in, or how do you play that as a player?
As you said, it's a one-off scenario.
Yeah.
I started the first day of pre-season with Swindon, spoke to Steve Mildenhall, and he was like, look, you can come in and train, but at the moment I cannot offer you anything. I obviously want you at the club, but at the moment, with what's going on, I cannot offer you anything. You can obviously play the pre-season friendlies and do all that, and at the time the club only had 6 signed boys on the first day of pre-season because 2 had turned positive for COVID, so they weren't allowed to train, so it was just 6 boys and the rest youth team.
Wow.
So it was in a very, very bad way, and going into the first pre-season friendly, there was 6 senior boys in the starting team, and I think I was the only one over the age of 20 in the second team that played the second half. But yeah, at that time I couldn't put all my hopes on Swindon, because who knows, with everything that's happened. You look at Macclesfield, Bury, like anything could have happened. The club could have fully folded. So I was trialling elsewhere, speaking to other clubs, and I had contract offers from other clubs, and I could have been tempted to take them, but there was other factors in there, and I was playing for the team, and I knew that I was better than the other goalie at the team, but they had him on loan, and in his contract, money wise, if he didn't play, the club had to pay more. So I said, you have an incentive to play him. You're not going to play me because you have an incentive to play him. And they said, no, it's competition. I said, no, like, I know how it works. I've been on loan enough times, because looking back, I think that's what happened at Northampton. They were paying my wages, paid more if I didn't play. They're paying for my flat, my expenses, everything. So I think in the end it was a money issue. And if they turned around and said to me, it's a money issue, we need you to leave, I would have gone, okay. I can't argue with that. So this other club was obviously had the other goalie, and he had incentives to play, and I said, I can't sit around, I want to play. And they said, no, you'll get opportunities, you'll get chances to play. I said, look, I know how it works. So I didn't take the contract, and in the end was just holding out for Swindon. Sorry. So luckily the ownership battle went through, and the new owners came in and smoothed everything over, but obviously the club was still under an embargo, so could only sign a 1-year contract. And we got through pre-season, and I was told I wasn't going to play, which obviously was tough, but it was circumstantial. But
Right, we told you weren't going to play because
it was,
you just signed a deal. You've gone to the club.
yeah.
Again, you got a manager saying you're not going to play.
Yeah, he had his reasons. It's one of those where it was that personal, like, confrontation. Do I challenge it? Do I not? It was a strange reason to give. It wasn't a case of he's better than you, he was better than that, but I don't really think it's appropriate to release it if he could still give me a job somewhere. But
how are you wearing your snud during those times? Was it?
No, this was summer.
Was it a snud issue?
No, it wasn't a snood issue.
Oh, okay.
I was in t-shirt and shorts, so I was very under wraps in the summer.
Yeah.
But I thought I'd played well in the games that I played in, because obviously I've been trialling. I played in every pre-season apart from the last one, which is you play your strongest team week before the start of the season. So I played every game prior to that. So I understood his reasons. Well, I didn't understand his reasons, but I got my head around his reasons and got my head down and worked hard. Knew that I'd have opportunities, because the other goalie was going on internationals. He'd been called up to the Ghana squad, and we had games. We didn't have enough. Well, we had enough internationals to call the games off, but with the form that we were in, we didn't want to call the games off because we were playing so well. We wanted to keep that momentum going, and we get to my Swindon debut, which is Forest Green. What a coincidence that is!
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think I probably had the best game of my career.
Yeah, you were probably so hyped for that, I'm sure.
It was
at Swindon or at Forest Green?
At Forest Green, 12:30 kick-off on Sky. Hadn't played since the middle of July. I think it was start of October. Yeah, it was one of those games where... I had played before that. I played the Carabao Cup and the Papa John's. So I'd played 2 games since pre-season, going into the Forest Green game, live on Sky. Everyone's questioning, can I cope with it? Because the other goalie's played so well. He has done really well. He's got into the Ghana squad. he's kept the team in lots of games, made lots of crucial saves. And yeah, I don't think I will have a better game than that for a very long time. I think it's one of those where everything just fell into place. I was able to make saves, and it was. I think the quality of the saves was what was so important as well. I don't know if you remember the game at all, but it was one of those where I was getting people messaging me going, "How are you not playing?" I was like, "Well, I respectfully thank you, but there's different scenarios that you don't see in different situations."
Yeah.
And to top the game off, I gave away a penalty in the 92nd minute and managed to save it. So, and still
You're just showboating by
Yeah.
that, but you just
give the penalty away
Yeah,
just to
absolutely,
save it.
Exactly, yeah.
And then still didn't get man of the match. I thought that's a bit disrespectful, but making 9 saves and a penalty save, I thought. But if you get an assist and you score 1 goal, strikers are going to get it. So, so we played Papa John's next game because the goalie was still away. Played the Papa John's on the Tuesday. Played Plymouth away. Got my first career assist in that game as well. So I'm on a big high this week. Played Rochdale at home the week after. Drew 2-2. Was one of those games where we could have won it. Wasn't down to any mistakes that I made that cost us the game, and the manager came back and said, "You've done nothing wrong, but neither's he. I can't take him out of the team just because he's gone on international." I said, "But you can't take me out of the team because I've done nothing wrong. So what are you going to do?" He said, "I'm going to play him." Okay, fine. Right, go back to plodding away, trying to improve in training, and the only thing that was sort of keeping me going was he was going to African Cup of Nations in January. So I'm thinking I'm going to get a good run of games here. So he goes away to the African Cup of Nations, and my first game for 8 weeks is Man City at home. Great.
Yeah. Nice showcase for you, though.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was rumours coming out their camp that they had COVID and they weren't going to play a strong team, and it came out that Pep Guardiola had COVID, and we're thinking, we don't want, as much as we want to play Man City, we don't want to play the 21s or.
Yeah.
So, team sheets come out at hour and 15 before kick-off, and we're seeing De Bruyne, Jesus, Gundogan, Diaz, Walker. We're seeing names that we can only dream of. We're thinking this is going to be a good test, very good test. I think I played well. Again, saved the penalty.
Yeah.
Made a really good save off Rodri. Could we have played the game differently? Maybe. We had a game plan we wanted to play out as much as we could because that was the style we were playing. If not, we wanted to kick long. The striker we had at the time, I didn't feel would offer us anything against Diaz, Ake and Cancelo, and Walker even for that matter. Even if I kicked it on any of those 4, I didn't think our front 3 would win any headers. So I didn't think going long was our best option. I thought trying to build out from the back was our best option. It cost us twice, but that's football. We're trying to play out against arguably the best team in the world. Is it the right thing to do? I mean, when it worked, we actually cut them open.
Yeah.
But yeah, we lost 4-1. Great experience, full sellout stadium. Man City fans were great. They were sign me up. So nothing came of that, which was a shame. But yeah, it was a great evening for the club as much as anything because of the situations that the club had been through. It was nice to have that kind of evening to celebrate going forward and getting past everything that had gone on. Following that game, I had a couple of more games, and it was a case of after that game, people didn't want the ball so much, and we were trying to play out, but there was no options for me, so I had to kick it long. And we were very much a possession-based team last season, so it wasn't in our nature to kick long. We weren't used to it. We weren't good at it. We didn't know quite how to cope with it, and we lost one of the games and we drew a couple, but we got through the games because of my decision making of going longer, because there was nothing on to play short. And as much as you want to play short, if there's nothing on, there's no point doing it. So unfortunately, Ghana had their worst African Cup nation in a number of years, and he came back early, and I was pulled out of the team because I wasn't playing out enough. I said, but I'm not getting enough options to play out, and these are my reasons. And the manager goes, yeah, sure, that's fine, but I need you to demand them to get into positions. Okay, fine. Next time I'm in the team, I'll do that. We go into a meeting 10 minutes after I've had this one-to-one, and he's told the boys that they're not giving me enough options. And I'm sat there running through my head everything that's going on, thinking, so it's not just me, but I'm still the one that's getting punished for it. Why are these boys not being pulled out of the team? But it is what it is. I can't argue with it. I can't change it. I've just got to, again, get my head down and work hard on trying to work on what he wants. Fast forward a couple of months, and the other goalie takes a slight knock in a game, and he's got a shoulder problem. He's out for the next game, so I'm thrown in. Hartlepool away. Haven't played again for a long time. We had a great performance, and we knew that it was sort of similar situation to Forest Green. We needed to win all 4 games to secure playoffs. And we won the first game 3-0. Great, perfect, great start. Tuesday night we got Forest Green, top of the league. They need 6 points to win the league, and they came out flying. It was a tough game as well, and we managed to go 2-0 up. I thought, right, we're in a comfortable position here. 2-0 up at half time. Just need to literally game management for 45 minutes. Know when to play, know when to kick it, know when to slow it down. We had a man sent off at 65, and it just everything. I mean, they say goals change games. Situations change games. Men getting sent off, just it can affect and demoralise. And it was one of those where, did he need to get sent off? Did he not? But again, we can't change it now. So we played on 10 men, changed the formation, changed the shape, and they scored about 75th minute, and now we're really starting to cling on because they're overloading us. They're scored the most goals in the league. They're creating the most chances, and we were really hanging on. And I was thinking, I don't know how he's got sent off for 2 tackles, but how am I not getting sent off for time wasting? Because I am trying my utmost to slow this game down. But I think if you speak to the refs in the right way, they kind of get it. And I said, ref, it's not me time wasting because I don't want to get booked.
Yeah.
If they're messing around, it's them. If they don't want to take a free kick and they tell me to, it's not me telling them, sit on it, don't worry about it, I'll go and take it. It's them just. So
we did a whole podcast on time wasting, haven't we?
Yeah. Very good.
The Brennan time wasting tips, professional time wasting tips. It's worth a listen. Actually, definitely worth a listen.
Yeah, there is a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. If you start getting silly with it, then that's when you get punished. So we managed to get through that game 2-1. So we got another 6 points out of the possible 12 that we needed. And we were relying on other results at this point for other teams to slip up and for us to sneak in. So we won the Forest Green game with 10 men. Results went in our favour that night, so we knew 6 more points guaranteed playoffs. We played Barrow at home, 1-2-1. Set-out crowd, which was great, and then we went to Warsaw away, which is a tough place to go. Warsaw was a tough place, but we managed to take 3,500 Swindon fans to Warsaw, which was half the capacity of the stadium. We had behind the goal on the whole one side, and we scored within the first 5 minutes, and we just knew, game done, game over. And I think we were 3-0 up at half time, and just saw it out, and we secured playoffs.
And the club kind of needed it, didn't it? After all the stress, the pain that the club had gone, and the fans wanted it, the club needed it. It was, the timing felt right, didn't it?
Yeah, it would have. It is that story and that kind of underdog scenario of having 7 signed players 10 days before the start of the season, not having a squad together, being in an embargo and all the problems that brings, and everything that went after that, and to get into the playoffs and be so strong throughout the season with the squad that we had was quite remarkable. And there was that kind of jubilation of that with everything that went on.
Yeah, so you were feeling good. You were getting a run of games, and everything was positive.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. I think the problem with last season, no one saw the best of me and appreciated how good I could be, because I was only playing 2 or 3 games at a time. And for a goalie, you play your best football 5, 6, 10, 15 games when everything's just clear. You're calm. You don't need to think about anything. You just know situations. The ball comes back to you. You know what to do with it. You read the situation so cleanly. You know you have a pass on, or you know you need to kick it. And I was kind of finally getting back into that kind of run where everything was kind of just clicking, and I didn't need to think about anything.
And getting some good plaudits along the way.
Yeah, and get credited for being in that sort of squad that needed to get into the playoffs and playing in those 4 games where we needed to win. So yeah, another playoff scenario, but I felt good going into those playoffs because I played 4 games going into it. I felt good. I was worried the manager was going to take me out. He didn't, which was nice. We played Port Vale at home, and we dominated them. It was. We should have had the game done and dusted 4-0 half time. But story of our season, we didn't capitalise on some of the chances, and it ultimately cost us. We went in at 2-0 and conceded a late goal, sort of 75th minute, which changed the kind of the situation going into the second leg, because they had hope. I think if we went in 2-0, I think the game's completely different in the away leg. And then obviously in the away leg they just started so fast, and we weren't ready for it. For whatever reason, we weren't coping with their speed, and they equalised on the aggregate scoring within 5 minutes. And then the game was just a stalemate. We couldn't really threaten them, they couldn't really threaten us. I made a few saves, and we took it to penalties. And obviously the manager, we're in the team talk before the penalties, and the manager's going to the boys, just hit the target. We know he can save them because he's done it twice this season already, in the City game and the Forest Green game. We know how good he is with penalties. Just make sure you hit the target. Yeah, so we're 3 penalties in and I've saved 2. We need to score 1 penalty to go to Wembley, and we don't. And I don't know how to, because I've in that situation at Aldershot as well. In that playoffs, I'd saved 2 penalties. We were 2 penalties up to win it, didn't go through. Port Vale, 2 penalties up to win it, didn't go through. And it was so tough to take, because as a squad we deserved to go. Personally, I thought, like, I can't do any more. So I kind of wrapped my head around the loss quite quickly, because as a team, collectively, it would have been good to go. But personally, I'd done enough myself, and I can only affect it so much. Yeah. But yeah, it was very, very heartbreaking, because it would have been one good story, and obviously all the Port Vale fans on, and all that kicked off with all the pitch invasions that happened over the summer and stuff, which was crazy. So our player missed his penalty, and I saw a couple of the boys run from the halfway line to him. I thought, he's okay, because I thought if he's on his own, there's going to be a few fans going for him. And then I thought, right, the people on the halfway line are okay. And I thought, hang on a minute, I'm on my own here, and they're coming from all sides. And I thought, okay, so just go to the tunnel, don't cause any issues. And a couple of them came up to me and got in my face, and I'm thinking, right, okay, I'm not trying to clench my fist, I'm just staying calm and everything. And they got into my face and then realised how tall I actually was compared to them. It was all a case of like, oh yeah, unlucky, and then they just ran off. Whereas like a couple of other lads did get hit,
Right.
so it wasn't a nice way to end anything, and it's one of those where you think things have to change in football because of that. There's no need for that from fans, and your team's won anyway. Like, why are you assaulting our players?
Yeah.
Your team's won. It's not like we've even beat you, and you're coming on to. I don't know. It's not even revenge, is it? I don't know. So yeah, that all kicked off, and I luckily got down the tunnel unscathed, and yeah, it was just one of those where you can only do as much as you can do, and Mildy was speaking to me a lot last season of control of what you can control, and I did all I could, and I was fine with that. I was proud of what I did. I was proud of the performances I put in.
So great end of last season. Not so great about the playoffs, but personally,
Yeah,
you had a run of games. You were looking good. You were feeling good. We're into season 22-23. So
yeah, signed
how are we feeling?
signed an extension just before Christmas, which obviously extended my year this year. I thought with the run of games that I had last year, I'd have a good opportunity to start. I knew the other goalie wasn't signing a contract and he was holding out for something else, which is great. He deserved with what he did last season. He deserved it. He was team of the season. He qualified for the World Cup. I thought he'd get taken somewhere. But then I thought also, if I was the goalie that was keeping him out of the team, surely that says something if he was team of the year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I thought that might suggest something. But manager change again. Manager left. So I thought, I'm going to have to impress someone else coming in. But the assistant from the season before took the job. So I thought, right, I've got a great basis with him. I've worked with him at Forest Green, worked with him last year. He knows me, I know him. I've got a very good chance to start the season. Bring in a lone goalie. We play pre-season. Do well in those games. Can't do much more in those games. And yeah, got told that I wasn't starting the season, which was really tough to take this year. It was really tough to take this year. I was told that I could do no more. Which, as I said to him, I said, well, how do you want me to take that? Because if I've done everything I can, I'm still on not playing, then there must be some fundamental reason why I'm not playing. And I can only look at it going, is it a case of he's on loan? Is it a money situation? Possibly, I don't know. Is there something else behind it? I don't know. But to be told that you've done everything you can, you've done well, and still not to play, I was baffled by it.
Yeah.
Just baffled. But
so where's your head at then? We're recording this end of August, so we're a month into the season, a little bit longer. Where's your head at?
I obviously want to fight for my place. I still think there's an opportunity there for me. But ultimately I want to play games. I don't want to be a number two. I had options in the summer to go elsewhere. Well, options, I say that. I had conversations about going elsewhere, being a number two, being higher up in the pyramid and being a number two, but that's not for me. That's a conversation to have at potentially 33, 34. I'm not a number two yet. I don't want to be a number two. I want to play football. And for me, that's the reason I'm in football. And I think at the moment, with not playing, I would probably be happier being a postman delivering letters, because you get satisfaction of doing your job. At the moment, I'm not a professional football trainer. Like, I don't want to just train. But there's opportunities coming up, there's cup games, and there could be injuries, which I've seen in my career before. There could be dips in form, there could be anything. So who knows what's going to happen.
you've seen this a million times before with players like Lewis, 25, same scenario, same situation. Tough to give advice, but what would you say?
Well, you can't. You have to keep going because by what the contract says, it's what it is, isn't it? There was a boy at League Two clubs, similar situation, but just couldn't do anything. You're at, you know what I mean? You're at where you're at, and I don't think you can stop. I don't think you can give up. I don't think you can. You can moan about it. You can look as much as you like into deep conversations that the manager might have with you not there, with the goalie cut. The truth is, you're either playing or you're not playing. And if you're not playing, you just got to keep going. There's no out. Well, there is an out. The out is that you come out of football, isn't it?
Yeah.
Short term.
Yeah.
But that's not the long term, is it?
No, of course. And I think what I've learned, I can say it in my experience, but I'm only 25. But in the experiences that I've had, football can change so quickly. It can change so quickly. I want to play. If I have an opportunity to play somewhere and it's the right fit for me, would I take it? Possibly. I don't know, but it's, for me, I'm not in football just to sit around. Some people have made careers off that, and I don't knock that, but I'm in football to play, and I want to play as much football as I can. But at the moment, I'm, for whatever reason, just biding my time again, but there's ways to do that in the right way. Obviously, I'm not going to disrupt anything. I'm not going to affect the group. I support the team and support the goalie that's playing. But I know that when I get my opportunity, I know I need to be ready. So I need to take those games, whether it be Papa John's, Carabao Cup, and be ready for those. But yeah, I think the focus now is, at the moment, in training and developing things that I need for the games coming up. We want to be a possession-based team. We want to play out from the back. How can I improve that? I can make sure my distribution's good. I can make sure that my detail's good on my passes. If we're a high line defence, can I work on my start position sweeping? There's loads of things that I can work on in training to make sure that when my opportunities come, I'm ready for them.
It's a fascinating story. I mean, we're up to, you're 25 years old. I mean, we've had broken arms, we've had managers quitting in the dressing room. I mean, there's all sorts of things. We've had injured ankles, we've had playoffs, we've had going back to these bogey grounds or lucky grounds, call them what you will. Fantastic story. Great to have you on the podcast, and I wish you every success this season, but more importantly, going forward, rest of your career. I know we'll have you back. You're a Glove Glue athlete, so we're in contact on a regular basis anyway. So thank you very much for joining us. I'm Paul Sherratt.
Martin Brennan.
I'm Lewis Ward.
And that was the Goalkeeping Podcast.